Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gamers Hall. I'm Chris.
And I'm Adam.
And today we're going to be talking about Fizban's Treasury of Dragons.
Yeah, this touches on the most iconic creature from Dungeons and Dragons, hence the last word there, dragons. This is good for players and DMs alike.
Yep, so if dragons are your thing, then this is the book for you. We're going to delve into what the players get out of this book, what DMs get out of this book, and possibly how to flavor up your sessions.
Yeah, this has got a lot of flavor potential, role-playing potential on all aspects.
All right, so let's jump into it.
Let's do it. We're going to talk about what's really a huge theme and what really pushes a lot of the story in Fizban's is the first world and how that will affect play for the player, and also especially how it affects the DM and the different ways to tell stories and what that actually means for D&D as a whole.
Right.
So first we'll start with the first world is what it is. It's the very first world. It's created by Bahamut and Tiamat. They formed it's the first material plane in essence. It's what everything else kind of echoes, which will become a reoccurring word within the book. They made all the mountains, plains, the creatures that lived on it, which especially would have been the dragons.
Right.
And the first dragon they created was Sardior, which also helped them to create and really fine-tune what this first world was. So it's an interesting bit to where Bahamut and Tiamat weren't these opposing aspects. They were just more, one was order, one was chaos in a way. But even though Tiamat's not necessarily chaos, it's more of bringing form to nothingness and adding things to it and growing what is there. And Sardior was more like the fine-tuner to a lot of this, where they made the raw elements and he came and polished them up.
Yeah.
But what is interesting about the first world is it's also what the dragons were first created on, and all dragons have a somewhat connection to this first world, as in that they are, in essence, always connected to it. And then all the material planes that have become echoes of this first world after it's somewhat sundering, which we'll get to, is the reason why the dragons act and have a lot of the same beings across all of these multiverses, or all these different universes and material planes, is because of their connection to the first world.
Right.
And that's a major reoccurring theme throughout this whole book.
Yeah, it almost kind of feels like when they were writing this book, they saw that movie Jet Li's The One, and kind of picked little pieces and parts of it and put it into this book.
Yeah.
Which you guys will understand what we're talking about that in a little bit.
Right. So the first world is not really around anymore. It's actually been sundered. Doesn't mean it couldn't exist in some aspect, but eventually other gods have appeared, found the place, and wrecked it. To make the story short, which you could read the Elegy of the First World, which is one of the very first. It's like the third page in the book, which it's an elegant little poem that is written there. But yeah, other creatures and other gods came and wrecked this place, and basically they also killed Sardior. In a way, he's shattered into different fragments, which Sardior is the gem dragons, Tiamat's the chromatic dragons, Bahamut is the metallic dragons. Well, in this doing, they've kind of displaced Bahamut. He kind of went on to his own thing to like Mount Celestia, and depending on where you're at in other different universes, his aspect shows in different places. Right. Tiamat ended up getting stuck in hell, or depending on where she is, her aspect in different places as well. So the scattering of that is what really caused the proliferation of all these different worlds, different realms, and all these unique aspects, but for some reason, certain things are very much similar to what they are in every other place. That's because they have a greater connection to the first world.
Yeah, which is also where kind of like Dragonsight
Right.
comes into play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being able to see what's not there is also in a way because it's the mystical connection to the material realm.
Yeah. This multiversal effect is also Dungeons and Dragons' way of saying, hey, all these books, all these settings, guess what? They're all actually tied together now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could have somebody from Ravnica show up in the Forgotten Realms and be like, whoa, what are we doing here? What's going on? And or even somebody from the Forgotten Realms show up there, or even in Eberron.
Yeah.
And now there's reasons for that, but also it kind of it makes it's canon since they've officially put it in a book.
Yeah.
But also the fact that this opens up options for players, because now you guys could play something that is from a different universe where nobody knows who you are. You have no ties to this place. You're here and you're just kind of living and surviving.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the next important aspect of this is the echoes that have come from the first world, or because of the first world not existing, the material planes going that. And really what it is mostly dragons have echoes. You could also say some gods have echoes, specifically or things that have ascended, they've more or less collected their echoes, or they become one entity across multiple universes, which is what most gods are. Mm-hmm. They're one entity that affects all the realms by sending out versions of itself.
Right.
Aspects. So what an echo is basically the same creature on one universe in another universe. It's we'll go with it. One red dragon in Eberron might have its own echo in Forgotten Realms and its own echo in Krynn, and they're all three basically the same dragon. We'll just call them Schmaug. There's three Schmaugs. Also, I guess one in The Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Middle Earth. There we go. So Middle Earth, all them, same echo, same dragon, all across it. But they're all slightly different. They all make their own choices. They're all independent thinking. It's just maybe they all have the same personality. All tend towards the same thing.
Maybe they'll do something slightly different than the other one.
But maybe the Echo 1 is vastly different from Echo 100, but it's still a red dragon.
Yeah.
But
there's still a slight essence of that dragon in all of those 100 dragons.
Right.
And this is where I was talking about the movie The One with Jet Li, where he actually found out that there were all these other different worlds, and he started traveling to all of them and killing the different versions of himself in order so he could be the one, the strongest. Because every time he killed one, he would gain their essence, and it would make him stronger. But it actually got divided amongst all
of them
of the other versions equally. So he just kept traveling to different worlds and killing and killing and killing and killing until it was down to just him and one other one.
Here's the interesting part about this is these dragons, once they gain old enough or maybe something, they'll gain a sense of their other echoes, especially great worms. Great worms know there are other echoes of themselves. They've been alive long enough to feel the connection between the multiverses. Ancients maybe, a lot of ancients might.
Yeah, they did say that gem dragons are more likely to develop Dragonsight than some of the others.
And the Dragonsight is what allows them to see into these other universes, see these connections.
And well, Ashladon
is one that has found these other echoes and has gone and killed those other echoes. And unlike the one, he gains all of their ability, or all their power in a way, or at least a portion of their power goes directly to him. Yeah. Some might be lost, but he will gain most of it. It's not spread across all the echoes. So now he's hopping between different universes and killing the other Astrodons to absorb the power, so he, in essence, can become a god. Because that's the connection with the gods, is that they're an entity themselves that send out aspects, not other echoes, across the universe. And there's other ones that have kind of gained that unique ability. The Messenger of Bahamut, I don't remember its exact name. It's aware of all its other echoes, but all its other echoes, it acts kind of as one entity in itself. It's a great worm that knows what it is, but they all work in unity to be the messenger of Bahamut.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily have to kill all of its own kind or all of itself, because they all work together anyway.
Yeah.
Or at least it can send an aspect of itself and appear as the same echo. Which is, it's an interesting take. Like, really, when you think about it, now you have a way that you can bridge all the different campaign settings around one central aspect and go, okay, well, we can play in Kryn, we can play in Middle-earth, we can play here on Earth. You know, what if we found a red dragon actually here on Earth, and it's the one surviving dragon on Earth, and it knows its echo is here, and it literally takes us to Forgotten Realms, and now you have Steve the mechanic, Joanne the accountant, and Francisco the doctor now are in Forgotten Realms, have to figure out how to be player characters.
Yeah, that could be very interesting.
I mean, that's in because they found the one ancient red that knew what it was, but this world isn't connected to the elemental planes as much or something. But that's the interesting part about it. This is how I feel it affects it. You can tell me what you feel as well, and this is, or if you think I might be wrong. I think it might overload the game more than it will help give player, kind of campaign options. Because now everything is an option. There's so many options that now you have to sift through what you want versus some more streamlined, which I guess more options is good, but at the same time, it's like, oh my god, what does it mean for a progenitor Eberron dragon versus just any other dragon? As a DM, what does that mean? To the player, it doesn't mean anything, but to the DM, it's like, oh, how do I explain that?
Well, see, I think it goes kind of both ways on that one, like, because the players could too. Because what if you have this like overly ambitious DM who's like, all right, I'm going to make a campaign, and you guys are going to literally go from campaign setting to campaign setting to campaign setting, like whatever the DM can find, and your job is to literally stop the dragon from killing its other echoes. Sounds awesome, sounds amazing, I want to play in it, but oh my god, that's going to be very difficult to DM. That's going to be a little bit of a struggle. There's a lot of prepping, a lot of knowledge you have to get into, so much reading. Like, I don't have the time to make that campaign, but God, it would be amazing. But I would love to play in it. But at the same time, like I could definitely see some overambitious DMs maybe trying that, or like just also. But yeah, you're right. Everything is an option. Everything's on the table. What are the players going to do? What if they find an airship and they're in the Forgotten Realms, and then suddenly they're like, no, like, we're just going to get on this airship and we're just going to go. Like, we're just going to go way outside the universe, Spelljammer style. Mm-hmm. And like, oh, we found Eberron?
I mean, that really opens up a huge possibility for Spelljammer.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly think Spelljammer is going to be one of the next campaign setting books.
Yeah, it might be one that ties a lot of these things together.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people are saying like Planescape and stuff like that, but when they had the they did a poll to see what books people wanted the most, Spelljammer was the next one that they haven't published yet.
Man, that's pretty interesting. I do have a campaign idea that would actually fit for this multi-universe echo hopping that would actually maybe streamline it a little bit. It could be based around a party that all follows Bahamut, and then or one of the great worms. It's really, it's basically said, okay, I need to build a party, probably a great worm, not Bahamut, because he wouldn't take this type of action. Says, okay, there's an echo of this ancient blue dragon on all these realms. Well, every one of these echoes across every one of these universes is on the precipice of destroying this realm, or doing something to inadvertently change more than just its realm. And it has to be stopped on every one of them. So now you have a party that could go from first all the way to 20th level, where they are actively being taken with this great worm exactly where they need to go to find this blue dragon, kill this blue dragon in every single one of its Echoes versions all the way up. So you have a campaign built around killing the same blue dragon in all of its varied instances.
Yeah, and you could actually even do that, and like you could scale that towards the party, where it's like, hey, I'm going to take you here because right now he's only a wormling.
Yeah.
But he's already started to amass a big following, and it's going to be very detrimental because the other people in like surrounding cities, they haven't developed enough that they'll be able to deal with him.
Yeah.
So I need you guys to go kill him and his forces to stop him from annihilating these other villages and stuff, so that they'll actually progress and grow.
Yeah, or the next version of them has, instead of amassing followers, now for whatever reason its lightning potential is so much greater here, and that it's actively like eradicating this area where something needs to grow, because it's just electrifying everything. It's just destroying all, electrolyzing all the water or something. It's like, well, we gotta kill it. So now you have a different version of the same blue dragon, just slightly tweaked.
Right.
And you can keep going up. Well, the ancient version of blue dragon has cornered the entire economy of the world, and has now completely garnered all the money of this entire world for whatever nefarious deed it wants to do. But because of the way dragons are, they need gold or whatever. It's about to ascend because of how much it's gained. You got to kill it, take away all its hoard. And the final version could just literally be the Great Worm version of this blue dragon, where you didn't get enough of them, and one finally got to where it's like, oh, you're chasing me.
Yeah. Or what if you're not actually? You don't have to go and kill the dragon every time. Sometimes you just have to thwart it, to stop it.
Yeah.
So it's like, listen, I don't want you to kill the dragon, but I do need you to figure out a way to disband the army that it's summoned. Yeah. Like, you need to go in and like convince them that they need to, like, these orcs and goblins, or whatever, these humans have sided with the wrong person or creature, and talk them in, or possibly kill all of them instead of the dragon. Or like, yeah, maybe we just need to go in. I need you guys to steal like half his hoard. Here's 5 bags of holding. Go in, fill all of them up, and then bring them back to me.
Yeah. I mean, and it could also have a butterfly effect as well when you're playing with these echoes, because these echoes and these different universes are not all on the same time scale. They don't all function the same. So you could have a butterfly effect where you did something to this one at this time, and now instead of it, because you didn't choose to kill it here, it changed into this. But you chose to kill it here, but because you didn't deal with the necromancer you never found, well, now he's a Dracolich. Well, now because he's a Dracolich, this is also a thing that could start corrupting the other echoes. So now that you've allowed one to become a Dracolich, now the version of it that wouldn't be doing bad is now turning way worse than it would have.
Yeah, like he's starting to become very nefarious.
Yeah, where he used to hang out and be by himself, now it's corrupting more and more. So that's a campaign idea, and in a nutshell, that's a lot of what you can do with this particular theme.
What's one thing, like a campaign idea you could also do with that? You could literally aspire a bunch of one-shots where literally the players are all the exact same person. They all have the exact same mentality. They all have, like, their personality and minds are all the same, but they're quantum leaping into different areas, settings with totally completely different characters. Like, they look into a mirror and they're like, oh my god, I'm a woman this time? And apparently I'm a paladin of, who is this? Paylor? Okay, we'll have to figure that out later.
You know what? And actually, that would be a great if you have a game store or you run the Adventures League or whatever. That would actually be a fun thing to set up for the game store, and especially if you happen to be in a bunch of different areas, you can say, "Hey, I've created this one shot with these characters, and now over the next 2 months, we're going to be playing these one shots with these different characters that pop in." And it's a almost not necessarily choose your own adventure type game, but it's
choose your own character class.
Yeah,
and then how do you affect? Character, different class.
And how does that change amongst all these different things? And then you just whatever happens in the first week, you take all the results of that, and then you can tweak it a little bit for the next one shot and say, well, this is how the ripple effect happened. This is what happened because of these choices you made. So now it becomes a overarching choose your own adventure style, but all done in one shots. So it's not rough on the DM to come up with a bunch of stuff that has to connect. He just has to come up with one reason why it's this.
Right.
That's a very interesting idea. And all based around the echoes and the multiverse and the first world that started all of this. So whatever you guys think, let us know.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea that they added the multiverse to D&D? Do you think it's a bad idea? What kind of campaigns do you think would be fun to run using these ideas? Also, what campaigns do you think this idea would absolutely wreck? Do you think if a DM threw this into this idea, what kind of style of campaign do you think that just it's not going to work?
Yeah. Or do you just see this as a grand opportunity to start making your own campaigns, doing these one shots, and trying out these different things that could come from a multiversal universe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But put those comments down there. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when we put out more videos.
Yeah. Until then, guys, have fun in the campaigns you are playing in, and hopefully this will inspire you guys to start your own campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, keep having fun with your friends and rolling those nat 10s.
Boopa!